I never thought I'd become that mother, the one who gives everything, sacrifices dreams, and still ends up discarded like a crumpled receipt. My name is Eleanor. I'm 56 years old. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, in a quiet little neighborhood where the birds chirp louder than the neighbors talk. Widowed at 43, I raised my son, Matthew, all on my own. I worked 3 jobs at one point, waitressing during the day, bookkeeping in the evenings, and cleaning houses on weekends. Every scraped knee, every school recital, every broken dream, I was there. I showed up, even when life didn't. And when Matthew got married 2 years ago, I swallowed every insult his wife threw my way, just to keep the peace. I even took early retirement to help them buy their dream house. $174,000. Every dime from my savings, my 401k, my late husband's life insurance. Just so my son could have a better life. But then, one night, I got a text. You weren't invited to dinner. My wife doesn't want you there. No explanation. No apology. Just that. I stared at that message for 10 seconds. Then I replied. Okay. And the next thing I did? I canceled every single payment. And deleted $174,000 from their future. That okay, I texted back. It wasn't out of politeness. It was the kind of okay a woman says when the last thread holding her back just snapped. But let me take you back a bit, because this didn't start with that text. It started the moment my son married Candace. From the beginning, she never liked me. She never said it to my face, but oh, she didn't have to. Her eyes did. Her tone did. Her little passive-aggressive remarks dressed as jokes did. You're so involved, Eleanor. It's cute. This lasagna is old school, like, really old. And the worst. She must have been lonely raising Matt alone. Maybe that's why she clings so much. I took it. All of it. For the sake of my son. But what truly shattered me wasn't her. It was him, Matthew. My son. My baby. The one who used to cry when I left for work and hug me tight when I came back smelling like bleach and coffee. He changed. Slowly. Gradually. At first, he started forgetting to call. Then he stopped visiting. And finally, he only reached out when he needed something. Mom, we found this amazing home, but the down payment's a stretch. Mom, Candace's car broke down. Can you help with the repair? Mom, we're thinking of redoing the nursery. And I paid. Willingly. Gratefully, even. Because I thought, maybe this was my purpose now. Maybe being useful was how I'd stay needed. I wired $50,000 for the down payment. Another $70,000 toward renovations. And bit by bit, the number climbed to $174,000. No contracts. No expectations. Just a mother's blind trust. And then, that text. Not even a call. Not even a fake excuse. Just. You weren't invited to dinner. My wife doesn't want you there. I stared at the screen, feeling like I'd been slapped. Dinner. A simple family dinner. Something I used to cook for him every Sunday, even when we had nothing but rice and beans. Now I was the outsider. The burden. The embarrassment. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I did neither. Instead, I canceled every future transfer. Called the bank. Froze the joint account. Blocked his number. And for the first time in my life, I stopped being his mother. And started becoming something else. The house was too quiet that night. The kind of silence that presses against your chest like a weight. I sat at the kitchen table, still holding my phone, rereading that one-line text over and over. It wasn't just the words, it was the years behind them. The diapers. The scraped knees. The cold winters without heating. The prom suit I stitched myself. The nights I went without dinner so Matthew could eat. And now? I was just uninvited. I didn't sleep that night. I walked through every room in my house. Touched every photo frame. Stared at the graduation picture in the hallway, him in his cap and gown, me standing beside him, tired but beaming. And I whispered to that photo. Never again. I'm done being small. I'd spent my entire life giving. Holding back. Staying polite. Because that's what good mothers do, right? But I wasn't just a mother. I was a woman. A woman who had bled and broken and built everything with her bare hands. And now, the very child I raised was treating me like a background prop in his perfect life? No. That night, something inside me cracked wide open. I poured myself a glass of red wine, sat back down at the table, and opened my laptop. First, I called the bank and requested a freeze on the disbursement schedule. The mortgage was still under my name until the final wire. That final $30,000? Never going through. Then I logged into the trust fund I had quietly built for my future grandchild, deleted it entirely. I called the lawyer and scheduled a visit to change my will. Everything I had? It was going to someone else now. A charity, maybe. Or someone who knew what loyalty looked like. The next morning, I drove to the title office. I told them I was withdrawing my name from the property registration unless a refund was initiated. Candace's name was nowhere. Just Matthew's and mine. They'd have to reapply for the loan now, on a single income. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't tremble. I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. I had clarity. They wanted to erase me from their life? Fine. I'd erase every piece of comfort my money ever bought. And that was just the beginning. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. No social media posts. No angry voicemails. I wasn't interested in drama, I was interested in results. For the first time in years, I started living for me. I sold the second car Matthew used to borrow whenever Candace's Audi was in the shop. Traded it in and used the money to finally renovate my own kitchen, something I'd put off for years so they could have marble countertops and a walk-in pantry. I went gray with pride. Stopped coloring my hair every 2 weeks just to look put together for a son who barely glanced at me. And I got back to something I hadn't done in forever, working. But not like before. Not for survival. This time, I worked for revenge. I revived my old online bookkeeping business. Made a sleek website. Hired a college kid to run my socials. Within 3 months, I had 5 steady clients, all startups owned by single moms or retired veterans. I wasn't just making money. I was building something of my own. And every time a payment came in, I smiled, not just for the paycheck, but because I wasn't funding someone else's ungrateful life anymore. Meanwhile, Matthew and Candace? They were struggling. I could tell, even from a distance. They applied for a refinance loan and got denied. Candace started doing Instagram sponsorships for budget home decor. Matthew reached out to my sister, claiming I had blindsided them and ruined their finances. She called me, of course, trying to guilt-trip me. Eleanor, you didn't have to go nuclear. They're young. They're figuring it out. I laughed. Young? I said. He's 32. I had nothing at 32 except debt and a baby I was raising alone. And I didn't have anyone footing my mortgage. Click. I stopped answering family calls after that. Because here's what no one tells you. Sometimes, becoming the villain in their story is the only way to become the hero in your own. One morning, I got an email from the mortgage lender. Apparently, the payments had defaulted. The final paperwork was never completed without my approval. The house was now under review. If Matthew couldn't cover the balance himself, which he couldn't, the bank would seize it. I sat at my new marble kitchen counter, sipping coffee, staring out the window, and reading that email 3 times. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I just exhaled, slow and full, like I had finally come up for air. My whole life, I believed that being a good mother meant never letting go. Now, I knew the truth. Sometimes, the most powerful thing a mother can do is walk away. But I wasn't done yet. Because now that they knew how it felt to lose comfort, it was time they learned what it meant to lose control. It wasn't about money anymore. It was about dignity. About reminding them that I wasn't someone they could erase when I was no longer useful. So, I started where it hurt them the most, their reputation. Candace had started a small lifestyle blog called Modern Nest Wife. She posted photos of their home, their baby shower registry, their humble journey building from the ground up, never once mentioning that every tile, couch, and faucet came from my account. She sold a lie. So I told the truth. Anonymously, of course. I submitted a tip to a popular influencer watchdog account. Attached a few screenshots, receipts, wire transfers, even the PayPal note that said, "For nursery furniture, love, Mom." Within a week, the blog's followers doubled, for the wrong reasons. Her comments were flooded. "Didn't your MIL pay for this? Girl, that's not your money. You're sponsored by your husband's mother. House of Cards much." She turned off comments by day 4. By day 6, 3 of her sponsors dropped her. And Matthew? He tried calling me. First once. Then twice. Then 5 times in a row. I didn't answer. But I sent him one text. "Your wife didn't want me at the table. So now I've taken the table." Then I moved on to phase 2. The house. The title was still partially under my name, because I had never signed the final release deed. That gave me rights. Real rights. I hired a property attorney. Told him everything. He said, "It's messy, but legal." And I said, "Good. Let's get messy." We filed a formal motion for property ownership dispute. Not to take the house, oh no, I didn't want it. I wanted the process. Court hearings. Delays. Frozen resale rights. Mortgage pressure. HOA restrictions. Basically, they were living in a house they couldn't sell, refinance, or legally renovate. Candace posted a cryptic story. When people can't control you, they try to control how others see you. And all her followers knew exactly who she meant. I watched it all unfold from my porch with a lemonade in hand. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it satisfying? Immensely. But here's the thing. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it to reclaim something they stole from me. My worth. My voice. My peace. For years, I gave them everything. I handed over my power like it was a gift. But now? I was taking it back. One clean, calculated move at a time. And soon, they'd have to face me. Not the version they used to manipulate, but the version they created with their own cruelty. It happened on a Thursday. I was walking out of the county courthouse, fresh from a final mediation meeting, when I saw them, Matthew and Candace, waiting by the steps. He looked thinner. Tired. Hollow-eyed. She looked furious. "Why are you doing this, Mom?" Matthew asked, voice low and shaky. Candace didn't speak, just stared at me like I was the villain in her perfect little fairy tale. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I just said, "Because you both taught me something I should have learned long ago." He blinked. "What?" "That unconditional love shouldn't mean unlimited access." Candace scoffed. "You're ruining our life." I stepped closer. Looked her dead in the eye. "No. I gave you a life. And you thought I came with no boundaries. That I'd keep paying while you kept cutting me out. But now you get to learn how expensive silence really is." I walked away. Didn't look back. Behind me, I heard silence, thick, stunned, powerless silence. And for the first time in years, it was mine. It's been 7 months now. The house? Foreclosed. The blog? Deleted. Matthew? Moved back into a rental apartment in a less Insta-worthy zip code. As for me? I travel now. I joined a group for solo women travelers over 50. Last month, I hiked the redwoods in California. Next month, I'm flying to Maine to see the fall leaves. I started volunteering at a local women's shelter, teaching financial literacy. Showing other women how to protect themselves before it's too late. Sometimes I still think of Matthew. I miss the boy he was. But I've let go of the man he chose to become. Because I finally understand something. You can give someone everything. But if they don't value you, they'll treat your love like a transaction, and your absence like a glitch. I don't regret helping him. I regret not stopping sooner. But now? Now, I live with peace. With purpose. With the quiet satisfaction of a woman who walked through betrayal. And came out the other side, not broken, but reborn. So the next time someone says, "You weren't invited," I'll smile and say, "I wasn't planning to come anyway." And this time, I'll mean it.